All right, man. Tell us up. Hey, how y'all doing? All right, so today's episode, Kendrick Lamar has a hidden secret in his three first albums, and no one knew about this, apparently. So according to this guy, we're gonna react to him talking about it. He said that there's a big secret that we missed. Now I'm very interested. I didn't watch this video, I just seen it, so I say, you know what? Let me watch it with y'all in real time. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to y'all. Legendary Spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful single sex ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description or right on the screen. Cash App. No more PayPal. They call me the Hidden Gym. 1300 subscribers. It's over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,000. And yes, I am the king of the North. Let me know what kingdom you are from. Also, too, go subscribe to Torture Talk After Hours. 4,000 subscribers. 4,000. Trying to reach 5,000. When I get to 5,000 over there, I'm giving away a cash prize. So make sure you there for that. You know what I'm saying? Over here, 25,000. I'm doing the cash prize right on live. So you're going to come on live with me. I'm going to send you the link. You're going to come on live, and I'm going to give you the cash prize right on the live. I'm going to do the Cash App. You're going to show everybody on the screen and everything. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to that. So before we get to that, you see me holding my neck to the side like this, I slept wrong. And this bed is hard as hell. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the pillows was wrong, so I slept wrong. So if I keep going like this, I'm trying to get the crick out of my neck. All right? I don't think I got some type of tube in my back or something. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for being here with me. Appreciate y'all. So let's get right to the content. All right, so just to let y'all know, if there's some songs that's playing and I have to erase the song because YouTube will probably try to copyright me or something like that, I'm going to erase the song, but the video will still be there. You just won't hear the song. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't happen, hopefully it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he found a way around it. But so let's get it.
Kendrick Lamar. A lot has been said about this man, and I mean a lot. Countless.
Bruh. Yo, they be doing some crazy stuff with this AI. He bouncing on Kendrick's head. Yo, that's crazy.
Think pieces, video essays, podcast discussions, all going into detail about his discography, his beef with Drake, this, that, the third. And I love these videos, don't get me wrong. But there is one aspect of Kendrick's career that I don't see spoken about as much online. So that's what I want to talk about today. Before I do that though, if you're a fan of hip hop, TV, films, philosophy, all that good stuff, please do consider subscribing to the channel. This is actually my very first video and I have a lot more planned, so if you like what you see, then please do stick around for the ride. You're more than welcome here. Alright, let's get back into it. So what is it? What is this secret sauce of Kendrick's that I really think sets him apart from a lot, not all, but a lot of other rappers in his peer group? Well, it's his ability to craft complex, dynamic narratives that span multiple songs, multiple albums, multiple eras of his career. And there is one narrative that stands out above all of them to me. A hidden trilogy of songs in Kendrick's discography that follows multiple characters as they lead intersecting lives, navigating an environment of obstacles and struggle. It is a story of disadvantage, heartbreak, friendship, and ultimately betrayal. And to start this narrative off, we have to go all the way back to Section 80. July 2nd, 2011, a 23-year-old Kendrick Lamar releases his first studio album and blows the absolute tits off of anyone who hadn't been paying attention to his rise so far. On this album, he showed that he had it all. He could bar out on songs like Rigor Mortis. He had vision, ambition, a message, as he showed on songs like Poor Man's Dreams and Ronald Reagan Era. He even had an ear for jazzy and left.
Yeah, I think what he did on Section 80 was very incredible. Section 80 is one of those albums that we never really add into his classics, but Section 80 definitely should be added into his classics. So from now on, I'm probably going to be adding Section 80 every time I say Kendrick's classics, because Section 80 is definitely a classic, 100%. And some people say they like Overly Dedicated better than Section 80. So for some people, Overly Dedicated was better than Section 80. So if Overly Dedicated was better than Section 80, that must make it a classic too, right? So from Overly Dedicated, Section 80 to Good Kid, M.A.A.d, Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, what's that? Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and GNX. Yeah. So that's a pretty tough catalog, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Build production, as Ab-Soul Outro demonstrated perfectly. And one thing he showed on this album, perhaps above all else, was that he was a storyteller. A true storyteller, following in the traditions of his influences and those who came before him. Perhaps the best demonstration of this storytelling happens to be where our story begins.
Sure.
The tragic masterpiece that is Kesha's song.
Yeah. That's the one I kind of figured that he was going, because that, if you listen to that song, that's a very, very deep song. When I tell you the things that girl went through, and she's actually in the beginning of Section 80. She's in the beginning of it when the dude, well, that's actually Kendrick, but he said, fuck your ethnicity, your gender, your race, anything here is all about whatever. So when he brought her in, he said, Kesha, Tammy, come up front. Because he's telling them, come up front, because they was in the back. It's like, no, y'all need to be up front. You know what I'm saying? We need to protect y'all, so y'all need to be up front, don't be in the back. Like, real shit.
Kesha's song is an almost 4-minute cut which draws heavily from the influence of Tupac's Brenda's Got a Baby. Remember this, because that's going to be important later. It follows the tragic life of Kesha, a 17-year-old girl from Compton, California, whose life has spiraled into a violent cycle of prostitution and abuse. The song has a clever structure, with 3 verses that begin and end in roughly the same way, drawing you into a false sense of security that Kendrick cleverly subverts at the very end for maximum dramatic effect. There is this overarching hopelessness to Kesha's story, as she bounces helplessly between bad actor after bad actor, all of whom seek to use her for her body. There is a sense of corrupted innocence and beauty, which is reinforced in the opening lines of each verse, where we hear the lines, Lord knows she's beautiful, Lord knows the usual is leaving her body sore. You hear this juxtaposition between a divine and intrinsic sense of beauty and then her less than humane treatment from her quote-unquote usuals. Kesha has been failed by everyone who should have protected her. We learn that she grew up without a father, that her mother was negligent, allowing her stepfather to assault her, and this set off the dark spiral that she's in. In the first verse, we hear about the local men that she services in their Caminos, and in the second verse, the Camino is swapped out for a squad car, illustrating how even the police are taking advantage of her vulnerable situation.
Yeah, that's crazy as hell. That's crazy. Just think about that. A young girl being, let's just say, emmed by multiple men. And then you have the police who 100% supposed to protect this person is out here doing the same thing. It makes it even worse because now you can't even go to them for help. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable, man.
Ultimately, Kesha's story ends just as tragically as it starts, and this is where Kendrick's clever use of structure comes into full force. Remember, he has been using a pattern all the way through each verse, beginning each verse with,
and Lord knows she's beautiful, Lord knows the usual's leaving her body sore,
and ending it with,
And in her heart she hated there, but in her mind she made it where nothing really matters. So she hit the backseat. Rosa Parks never a factor when she making ends meet.
Whilst there are subtle changes to the wording, the cadence and rhythm is the exact same each time. As the listener, this settles you into a sense of predictability, a sense of routine. This is a clever statement on how Kesha's life has in itself become a routine, something she is totally numb to and resigned to at this point. But beyond that, it's subconscious.
So in Kendrick had another song on Good Kid, Mad City, where he talks about "Sing About Me." In the song, I don't know if this was Tammy, because this is about Kesha. I don't know if that was about Tammy, and I think it was because the same girl was talking about what happened to her sister. You know what I'm saying? I believe that she said something happened to her sister in that verse that Kendrick wrote, which is one of the greatest songs of all time, to be honest with y'all. I should actually do a breakdown of that song. That's one of the best songs of all time. In that song, he was talking about a girl, and she was talking about the same thing about what this girl is doing. I don't know if that was her sister or if it was, but it's the same girl.
Affects the listener, creating this false sense of security and comfort, so that by the time you get to the third verse, you think you know exactly how it's going to end. This sets Kendrick up brilliantly for a rug pull at the end of the third verse. The end of this verse starts just like the last two verses, but the end of Kesha's story, well, I'm just going to let it play out for you to hear for yourself.
Rushing through that block away from Ludus Park, I seen her El Camino Park. And in her heart she hated there, but in her mind she made it where nothing really matters. Still she hit the backseat, then caught a knife inside the bladder. Left her there raped in the street, Kesha song.
Yeah, I had to stop it because he was going in too much. No, I had to stop it because I don't know if they're going to try to copyright that.
And so Kesha's story comes to an end. Notice how Kendrick's patient establishment of structure and his sudden rug pull at the end allow him to really maximize the suddenness and the violence of Kesha's death. It's brilliant writing, but we're not done yet. Because although Kesha's story ends in tragedy, this is not where our narrative ends. In fact, this is only the first chapter. We've heard about her absentee father, her negligent mother, and her abusive stepdad. However, what we didn't learn, and what we wouldn't learn until years later, is that Kesha has a sister. Welcome to Good Kid, Mad City.
That's it. I told y'all. That's the song I'm talking about right there. And I think that's because in Section 80, the beginning of it, he said Kesha Tammy. So maybe this is Tammy. Maybe they were sisters. I don't know. But let's go.
Instant classic, Good Kid, Mad City. Our trilogy continues on the 10th song of the album, the 12-minute multi-narrative epic, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of David, who actually want to start with the second verse on the song, which tells the story from a tragic first-person perspective of a young girl living a hard and brutal life on the streets, forced to sell her body to make ends meet.
There you go, right there. And the thing is, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you don't really pay attention to stuff, but I didn't know that. I didn't realize that that was her sister. Now I don't know if this is actually Tammy. I don't know if this is Tammy, but in the song, this is sister. So I don't know in the beginning of Section 80 when he said Kesha Tammy come up front. I don't know if they were sisters. So I don't know if this is her sister.
Here, Kendrick makes it clear that this verse is from the perspective of Kesha's sister. And it's obvious from the jump, she is not happy about Kendrick's decision to tell her sister's tragic tale on Kesha's song. A move that she implies to be judgmental and a massive, massive overstep on Kendrick's part.
Brenda's got a baby. What's crazy was I was hearing about it, but doubted your ignorance. How could you ever?
Yeah, I want to make sure that stop it because I don't want YouTube to flag that.
Put her on blast and shit, judging her past and shit. Well, it's completely my future.
Now, I'm obviously not going to play the entire verse, and I encourage you to listen to it for yourself. But something that I do find really interesting is how Kendrick's characterization of the two sisters gives them such distinct and different identities from each other. And this is in the way that he writes his raps, the way he...
Yeah, because see, in this verse here, the sister she learned from her sister doing whatever she did. She's more aggressive and more wiser and smarter. She just doesn't do things just to do it. And she's like, look, you know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with none of that. I'm out here getting this money and I ain't gonna get caught up like my sister. That's how she's coming.
Crafts their voices. So whilst we never hear Kesha actually speak in Kesha's song, Kendrick's use of language gives the implication of innocence. Someone clear, perhaps a crude sense of voice. She chastises Kendrick for judging her lifestyle, and she projects this sense of acceptance, perhaps even confidence, in her circumstances. I find it really interesting how Kendrick has chosen to move from a third-person perspective on the last song that we picked apart to this first ended violently and abruptly. Her sister, however, as you'll see from this song, falls victim to a much slower, a much more mundane fate, dying slowly from an implied STD. Kendrick makes that obvious in this verse when she's talking on the topic of her own sexual well-being. She expresses confidence in her health, and she says assertively that a trip to the doctor would be completely unnecessary. Literally fading away to the point that you cannot even hear a word by the end of the verse. Here, Kendrick is using dark irony as a technique to imply to the listener that this character's health only deteriorates from here until she, too, is gone. It's a clever, if somewhat harrowing end to the verse, and I'm just going to let it play out in full here so you can hear it for yourself. My advice, close your eyes for this section and just take it in.
I probably live.
Yeah, now you already know that I can't play that.
The lights shut off, and it's my turn to settle down. My main concern.
And so Kesha's sister, just like Kesha before her, connects all of these dots. Immediate aftermath of losing his brother, David's brother, which is what we'll call him from now on, is out for revenge. He begins the verse by calling Kendrick people who, as he says, will never prosper. He even blames himself for his brother's death.
You know, that's crazy, right? Because in that song, the brother goes back for revenge, whether he gets the revenge or not. He gets fatally taken out too. And this is why I say, like, a lot of y'all be Kendrick fans, and not even say, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna say people who are really not Kendrick fans don't understand this. Y'all think Kendrick just be making songs, but if you go back to his albums, these Jones are connected, which is crazy to me. Very, very crazy.
And the role that he played in instilling the gang mentality within him.
Can't play that whole thing. They're gonna definitely try to flag that.
The cat went against his will, last blood spill on you.
Notice how infantilizing this There is nothing that the listener can do but observe as David's brother's story comes to an abrupt and violent end. Comes to an end. Our three characters so far, all having met fates as tragic and violent as their lives. It's not exactly a walk in the park, is it, this story? But it is reality. The brutal reality for a lot of people living below the poverty lines in Compton. People who Kendrick has made it clear from the beginning of his career that he wants to shine a spotlight on in his art. These are the stories he feels truly conflicted in telling. We hear that in Kesha's sister's verse when she berates Kendrick for doing exactly this. But as Kendrick states in his final verse on the song, it is these stories that motivated him to speak on something that's realer than the TV screen. He views his art as an opportunity to share these untold stories, and his large platform provides a sense of obligation to do so as authentically as possible. We're not done yet though. This is a trilogy.
The crazy thing is, you got to understand, right? When it comes down to it, you seen where the man was trying to get his son to fight. It's a repeated cycle that we go through. Repeated cycle of adults training kids how to fight, then kids grow up, fight each other, kill each other, do whatever. Then it's the same repeated pattern. The same repeated pattern. It's crazy. It's crazy. I grew up like that. I'm telling you, and it's not a good thing.
After all. And trust me, the direction that this narrative takes in its final part, it's a weird one. These Walls is the 5th song off of To Pimp a Butterfly. Unlike the other songs in the trilogy so far, this one is less literal with its storytelling, more abstract and full of symbolism. At least until the 3rd verse, when its connection to our story becomes clear. At its highest level, this is a song about sex. That much is clear from the first 30 seconds of moaning that Kendrick puts at the beginning of the song. Don't worry, I will spare you that. But it's also hammered home by the extended metaphor of the song. These walls which, through clearly
He these walls can talk. A lot of people didn't understand what he was talking about in that song. Obviously, he's talking about being the inside of a woman. And at the end, he brings up something. I want him. He probably gonna explain it, but at the end, he brings up something. Someone who's basically in between walls, and between the certain walls, while he's in her walls. If you get what I'm saying.
an intimate relationship with this woman. But who is she? His lyrics do give us a clue. For example, Kendrick states at one point that he is, quote, just a tenant, illustrating that he is not her longtime partner. He also says that her walls have been vacant for more than a minute, implying that she hasn't had sex in a while before him. He also says that before they couldn't stand me, implying that women like this one were not interested in having these relationships with Kendrick before he made it as a rapper. This is important because it alludes to a truth that will be revealed later in the song, that Kendrick is actually abusing his status as a rapper in order to seduce this lady. But what could his motivations be for doing this? Just lust? Well, not quite. In the 2nd verse of this song, Kendrick suggests that he has been premeditating this seduction for some time now, saying, I've been on the streets too long, looking at you from the outside in. Clearly, he has been observing this lady in anticipation of making his move, and his motivations for doing this are made clear in the final verse of the song. Before the final verse kicks in, we're treated to an intensely jazzy instrumental keyboard break performed by the legendary Terrace Martin. At this point, the instrumental, which I think we'd all agree has been really upbeat, jazzy, fun, funky up until this point, it takes on the walls of a prison cell. The person Kendrick is directly addressing on this verse is locked up, and it is clear from his malicious tone that Kendrick has absolutely zero sympathy for them as they face the violence and helplessness of prison. Just listen to the venom in his tone.
Yeah, they definitely gonna take this down.
Race wars happening, no calling CO, no calling your mother to save you. Homies to say you're reputable, not acceptable, your behavior is...
Thus far included Kesha, Kesha's sister, David's brother, and importantly, David. In this verse, Kendrick says, Walls telling you to listen to sing about me. Retaliation is strong, you even dream about me. Killed my homeboy and God spared your life. Dumb criminal got indicted the same night. Notice how he directly references...
Bro, that's bro. Yo, I'm telling you, bro, I didn't even know this, bro. I didn't even know this. This is insane, bro. So, let me get this right. He did a song talking to the dude. And I thought he's saying he killed his cousin. But no, he is smashing his girl, the dude who killed his homeboy from Sing About Me. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. And then he goes and talks about how he's smashing his girl now, and he's behind bars and he's smashing his girl. All right. Bro, come on, bro. Is he not the best? You know what I'm saying? It's craziness. I had to run that back a little bit. Everything went out. Stepped out, came back, had to finish the video. It's just crazy. Let's keep it going.
This verse, Kendrick says, "Walls telling you to listen to sing about me. Retaliation is strong, you even dream about me. Killed my homeboy and God spared your life. Dumb criminal got indicted the same night." Notice how he directly references "sing about me" here. By doing this, Kendrick makes it clear that the man he is addressing was responsible for the murder of one of his friends, either David's brother, who we directly heard from on "Sing About Me," or David himself, who died on the previous track of Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. As for which brother this character murdered, I'm actually not sure. We know that both were murdered in roughly the same way, and we know that the subject of this verse is responsible for one of them. I think this is left intentionally ambiguous by Kendrick.
I think it is too. I also think that Kendrick did this on purpose because the dude knows who he's talking to. So maybe it's not for us to know. Maybe it's just between between Kendrick and the dude who did it. But I mean, if you do a little bit of digging, if this story is true, then obviously you could find out who was connected to Kendrick, who got killed by, and then who was the dude who actually did it. I'm sure that people could actually look that up.
But maybe I'm just missing something. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In any case, this man is responsible for the death of one of Kendrick's close friends, and Kendrick has launched a vengeful plan. In case it isn't clear by now, the woman from the last few verses, the woman that Kendrick has seduced, the woman that we know has a long-time partner and with whom Kendrick is just a tenant, this is the girlfriend of this man who is locked up in prison. That's right, Kendrick is sleeping with the wife of the murderer of the brother of David, or David himself, whose cousin slept with the sister of Kesha from Kesha's song all the way back in section 80. Kendrick, powered by bitterness and revenge, has launched an affair with this woman whilst her partner rots away within these walls of his prison cell. I think we can compare this verse quite well to David's brother's verse on Sing About Me, because both of the verses are about revenge, and it's really interesting to see the two characters' different approach to their revenge. David's brother, grief-stricken and traumatized by his brother's death, goes out on an instant mission of violent retribution. In his verse, he specifically praises Kendrick for not conforming to the same violent ways, lauding Kendrick as providing a dream.
Yeah, he definitely did that in that song. I noticed that too, that he definitely did praise Kendrick, and he was basically saying like, I want you to make it big. I want you to get out there and do your thing. But if I die, you know what I'm saying, you got to tell the story. Like basically put it out there. That was really good.
Beacon of hope for this community. In this verse, however, Kendrick shows that he is equally vengeful, equally powered by bitterness. The dream that David's brother refers to, Kendrick's ability to lift himself out of poverty with his art, this becomes the very same platform that Kendrick exploits to exact his plan for revenge. I think that by rapping we arrive at the end of Kendrick's Compton trilogy. Let's recap. Our story started with Kesha, a 17-year-old girl from Compton, California, forced to sell her body to make ends meet in a life characterized by neglect, corruption, and abuse. Kesha meets a violent and untimely end, inspiring Kendrick to pen her story on Kesha's song. We then meet Kesha's sister, who is not happy at all with Kendrick's decision to tell this story and berates him thoroughly throughout her verse on Sing About Me. We learn that Kesha's sister is subjected to the same fate as Kesha, selling herself to make ends meet. One client of hers is David's cousin. David happening to be one of Kendrick's closest friends, one of the people Kendrick is roaming around with throughout the broader narrative of Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. However, during the climax of the album, David is murdered in a shootout, bleeding to death in Kendrick's arms. David's death prompts his brother to go on a spontaneous, murderous revenge mission in its aftermath, which inevitably sees him shot down in the street. Fast forward a few years, and either David or his brother's killer is currently serving life in prison for the murder of David or his brother. Meanwhile, his girlfriend stays at home waiting for him. During this time, Kendrick is enjoying the spoils of his meteoric rise to fame. All this while, he is harboring a deep, vengeful resentment for the man that killed his friend, and he therefore enacts a plan whereby he abuses his power to get to the killer's wife. He seduces her, getting her to betray the trust of her incarcerated boyfriend, thereby allowing Kendrick to enact the ultimate non-violent revenge. It is a dark story, one without any catharsis or resolution. Kendrick, who has at every stage showed his humanity, ends the story in a demon-like state of vengeance. Throughout these songs, Kendrick explored the dark and shadowy side of Compton, examining juxtaposing themes of poverty and privilege, hopelessness and hope, violence and redemption, trust and betrayal. He doesn't position himself as inherently more virtuous or as any better than any of these characters, illustrating clearly how his own flaws and condition allowed him to get caught up in the cycles of revenge that afflict so many. However, by sharing these intricate and interwoven narratives with us, Kendrick takes the listener into the world of Compton, giving us an unfiltered look into where he came from. If you made it
That was an excellent video. Yeah, I know. I changed my shirt. I know. Different color shirt. I know. But yeah, that was a great video, man. Yeah, so what y'all think about that? Y'all think that he was on to something? I think he was. He kind of broke it down real well. Some of the things I didn't know, like in These Walls Could Talk, I thought that he was talking about one of his cousins, not his actually boy. And didn't know that they was all connected like that. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Torture Talk, you know what it is.